Mother tells specific embarrassing story about me. Let me preface this by saying that, while this story might paint my mother in a bad light, she did have flaws, but was also a very supportive and good mom. I'm 24 now. My mom loves to tell embarrassing stories from my childhood to people. I don't mind most of them, but there is one in particular that really makes me angry every time she tells it, because of the backstory. Which is as follows. I was probably 13 and near puberty. My mom was always very open about the changes I would be soon experiencing, and bought me everything I needed for when the day came. I was nervous about it, but not really embarrassed. My mom had a shower with a clear glass door that I would use, because it was a lot nicer than mine. One day she's in the shower and her phone rings and it's her boyfriend. He was nice, and at that point I had met him a few times and liked him. From the shower, she says go ahead and answer and say hello. As I go to answer, the phone stops ringing, so I unlock it, and it opens to the screen of text messages with her and her BF. The most recent text is her saying that she had seen me getting out of the shower, and due to the development of some hair in that region, she thinks I'll be getting my period soon. And she ends it with not ready for that. I was humiliated that she would discuss that with anyone, let alone her boyfriend who I had met a few times. Her BF did end up becoming my stepdad, and he is a good man, so I don't want to paint this in a super creepy manner. I think she was just venting, but regardless it was messed up in my opinion. I don't know if it's normal for parents to talk about their kids like that to people. My stepdad does have children, 2 girls and 1 boy. One of the girls is in the same age range as me. After this I became very secretive, and eventually, when I did get my first period, I hid it for as long as I could, just because I was embarrassed and didn't want her to tell everyone. She ended up finding out I got it about 3 months after, and flipped her that I hid it from her, but she didn't know why, because I never told her I saw what she texted about me. Now for whatever reason she thinks it's a funny story to tell to people. She told my boyfriend, now Fian K, and I ended up telling him the story behind it afterwards, and he was shocked. I'm not embarrassed by periods and puberty now obviously, but it hurts every time she mentions the story. Would her if next time she says it, no matter who is around, I say well maybe, if I wouldn't have caught you texting your BF about me getting pubes for the first time I wouldn't have been so humiliated. I think this will really make her upset, but also feel like it needs to be said. Also, let me know if I'm overreacting about what she texted. When she goes into the story, I would usually just keep my mouth shut and try to change the subject. The most recent time I told her as she was beginning that I did not want her telling this story again, and when she continued I told her to stop, and she continued. However, I have never sat her down and told her the details mentioned in my post. Seems the best course of action is, like most of you suggested, to just have this convo with her one-on-one. Maybe I was feeling a little bitter and just wanted to embarrass her, like she has me time and time again. Point is, I love my mom regardless of her flaws, and handling it this way would do nothing but cause hurt and more anger. Reddit comments. NTA, you definitely need to speak up about your mom and explain to her your feelings. Okay, don't downvote. Just hear me out. Imo, this is Aresh. People are so quick to throw away civility for personal gain, and that's exactly what's happening here. Op just wants to get back at their mom. Why can't they respectfully talk to the mom about it? What? How is it appropriate for the mom to randomly bring up the story of Op's first period? It's not even her own first period she's talking about. It's weird. How does it even come up? Would you like to hear about how I found out about my daughter's period? No. No one wants to hear that story. Mom knows or should know that what she is doing is not okay. NTA, but I wouldn't recommend this approach. As a parent of a teen, I have to confess that sometimes his puberty has been a lot for me, and I'm sure I've said similar things. Obviously I haven't seen him naked in years, but referenced other puberty milestones like that to my inner circle. Puberty can be awkward for adults sometimes as well, and we may need some support from time to time to process these big changes. I'd just have an open conversation with your mom about how much pain and embarrassment this caused you, if you think she will listen, and not be defensive. It seems like this incident had serious repercussions for years that I'm sure your mom didn't intend for you to endure. I was in a similar, but different situation, in that I was dating a man who had full custody of his twin 12-year-old girls, and we talked about things when the girls started their periods. Nothing in depth, and God knows he hadn't seen them naked in forever at that point. But he asked to have a woman's thoughts on it, like what kind/size pads to get, etc. He was a phenomenal father and the girls could talk to him about anything, so I was just there for moral support for him mostly, lol. So I don't think it's abnormal to talk to your Sue about these things, but I do think she's definition tough for telling the story. My sister has a story about me when I was a toddler. Apparently you couldn't yell at me or tell me I was being bad or I'd throw up. One time she yelled at me for being bad and I threw up. The punishment was cleaning it up. In hindsight, she thinks this is a hilarious story. I think it's a sign of how severe my anxiety was as a child. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 19. After many tellings of this story, I explained my side of it to my sister. I said that was probably an anxiety attack, and I had no control over my physical reaction. I wasn't trying to get her in trouble. I further explained how upsetting it was to me, now that I displayed physical symptoms so young and no one helped. I don't blame anyone for not catching it, but it makes me sad that someone cold caught that I had anxiety and helped me sooner. She explained her side was funny to her. She thought I was purposely trying to get her in trouble and be gross. It wasn't an apology, but she stopped telling the story after that. I hesitate to actually vote yet. I hate how some parents will share personal details about their kids with pretty much anyone who will listen. But humiliating her is not the way to go. Sit her down and explain to her how it's 100% not okay to tell that story. And yeah, tell her that if she tells the story again you're going to speak up. At that point, if you do have to speak up, she's brought the embarrassment into herself. Did you already have that conversation? That would sway things up. I tried to not react strongly to it before until one time I just told her you are not telling this story again. When she went to talk about it once, she kept going and I said stop. She kept going. The rest of the times I just sit there. That was as confrontational as I have been about it. I've never told her about seeing the message or anything like that. NTA, but it would be better for you to talk to your mom up front before she does it again and explain the situation. If she was always being disrespectful of you, I'd tell you not to bother, but you made it clear that you have a good relationship otherwise. Regarding parents talking about their kids, yes, it's normal, but your mileage may vary. Some parents are more circumspect about periods because of their own feelings about it, but may not be as sensitive to other issues that their kid may find very personal. At the end of the day, it's a very difficult line to tread because a parent and child's life are so intertwined that discussing one's own problems are often inseparable from discussing their parent and children's problems. It's understandable that you felt embarrassed and upset, but it's also understandable that she was discussing parenting a child through puberty and the changes that come with it. Not everyone would do the same, but every parent does something that will embarrass the hell out of their kid on occasion. It's just part of the situation. This is where I learned the life lesson of what other people say about me is none of my business. Is your mom my mom? I almost went through exactly what you went through, but my mom wasn't even secretive about it. When I started developing breasts, she literally called up our entire extended family to let them know. Many times I was in the room as she would regale them with my breast development. It was humiliating. I hid my period from her for months because I didn't want the whole family to know. Thankfully she rarely brings it up, but on the rare occasion that she does, I let her know exactly why I hid it from her and how I felt. That usually shuts her up. As an adult, I see too many parents doing this, and I think it's gross. I'm in a group chat with some of my friends, and one friend recently was going on and on about how her 9-year-old just started her period. Parents need to learn to respect the privacy of their children. It's not like sharing that helps anyone. I'd have been fine not knowing about her daughter's period. Comment and subscribe.